Okay, so this is synchronicity. So it's funny because I did this class. So I did this class. I think this was my very first class. I think it was the very first class for VIP. So it's maybe 5 years old, 6 years old. And so this is the first time that we are doing synchronicity again, like 5 years later. So I think it's really cool to just see how things evolve and see what comes through. And so just like I was sharing with you ladies before we came on and those who are on the replay, just to grab pen and paper, grab journal, whatever you need, just because spirit really wants us with this time together to be able to be mapping these synchronicities and to really be able to see like, oh, that's how I got this synchronicity. And also then with this, then allowing for us to be able to then map like how it happened and that it can happen more. And also to allow us to be able to increase our communication with spirit, with universe, and allow for things to come to us. So it's almost as if, thank you, go ahead. They're just showing me that with this, like that synchronicity leads right into manifestation. That synchronicity leads right into your gifts, your spiritual gifts, your intuition. If you have mediumship, like just really being able to witness that. And it's almost like, thank you, they're showing me that we want to break this down for you all so that we are able to help you to see and help you also to, that makes sense to me. Almost as if what is your strongest way to get synchronicity? Not necessarily the types of synchronicities you get, but how you receive those synchronicities. And if we can strengthen that, that makes sense. Then what we're going to do is then you're going to be able to use that. It's like a muscle. Like synchronicity is just like a muscle. Spiritual gifts are just like a muscle. Intuition is just like a muscle. So I actually pushed record. We all talked about our synchronicities. And so I had shared with everyone about the synchronicity where we're going to get siding on our house. And so I was looking at getting, green. We were wondering if we should put the down payment on the house to do this. And this was last year that we did, or last year, yesterday, talk about being in a different time space continuum. So yesterday we put the down payment down. And then I was just sharing with Jen and with Dawn that I had a client who was male who came into our house, and he came up the stairs and he said, I think we have the same architect. And he said, it's just flipped. And so with that, he's like, oh, and we just got new siding. And so as he's showing me, our house flipped. And then with that, the same siding we want to get with the same garage that we want to get. And so in a lot of ways, just really witnessing like that's one way of a synchronicity. And then Jan was just sharing about here are 5 different kind of things that are synchronicities. So one is symbolic connection. So with the man coming into my home, it was almost like there was a symbol there and there was a symbolic connection. So there's some type of connection. So just thinking about your synchronicities, the things you see, if it's numbers or if it's something where there's 2 events that are unrelated, let's say 2, maybe it's you hear a song on the radio. And so just witnessing, oh, my dad used to love that song and he's in spirit now, like just looking at the symbolism and the connection. So also what's really important with synchronicities is timing. And so with that, just really witnessing that we just put the deposit down yesterday on the siding. And I was wondering, I'm like, is this the direction we should go? So the timing of it, impeccable. So just being able to see the timing of it. So even for both of you, it just feels like your synchronicities had a timing to them. So really being able to witness that synchronicity is also timing. So synchronicity also shows up in repetition. So one thing after another. I feel like when I was first opening up to my intuition, I would always ask for things in threes. And so if I got an insight, I would just ask, okay, that's great. Or if I got like some type of symbol, that's great. But at the same time, I want to see it 3 times. So I had my spirit team like pumping, like they were just like on their toes, like, okay, how else are we going to give her this sign? So that repetition, but I almost feel like, again, looking at that psyche with the external world, like that really helped me have that communication with spirit, with universe. Like I need you to show up 3 times to help me to really get that validation. So, and also synchronicity can be an intuitive insight. And I think that this is kind of a tricky one where people are almost just like, oh, was that just me? Was that a thought? Like, what was that? So synchronicities could also be just an insight. So if we were all here and we were all talking about the synchronicities, if one person had said, "Oh, well, I just got this insight that I need to buy a new car," that's a synchronicity. And you may not have any rhyme or reason for it. You may not have, any validation like you're getting that repeatedly or anything else. It's just like, I got this insight. I need to get a new car. Let's just say, too, if we're looking at it as two or more events that are meaningfully connected, it may be something like the very next day, the check engine light comes on your car, like that kind of thing. So that's where we're kind of seeing that validation, but in being able to see two events that are coming together. So with this too, looking at synchronicity, that example could be that it's a message or indication that they're on the right path. So it may be something like, oh, okay, I got this insight, I need to get a new car. And then the next day my check engine light comes on my car. So just looking at like, oh, that was a message or an indication that I'm on the right path. So just being able to really witness that. So also synchronicities can be like confirmations, or they can be like a yes. So with that, it's almost as if, for me, with the synchronicity of that man with the having that home and being able to show me the picture of his home with the same siding on it, the same garage that we want as well. Really being able to see like that was confirmation. Like, yep, you're on the right track. Okay. So I